Hey everybody, this is Jason from Get Tech Smart. We're here with Dick Salas, and we're going to talk to him about all these awesome comedy shows that he's got going on. He's the originator of this comedy group that he has going on, and has a whole bunch of awesome comedians all around, I believe, the Inland Empire. I'm not exactly sure, but hey, Dick,
What up?
Dick, tell me more.
How you doing, man? So, yeah, like he was just saying right now, my name is Dick Salas. I am a comedian. The group that I'm a part of is called the Quarter Comics, or COC for short. Yes, I know, cock, haha. We do produce shows in the Inland Empire, not just the Inland Empire though. We're also in LA County. We're in Orange County. We're in whatever the Temecula County area is. I have no idea. I don't know if it's Methville or something, but and then we also have produced out of state. We produce in the Antelope Valley, which is a very funny name because there are no antelopes in the Antelope Valley. So we're just all over the place. And what I do love about it also is what sets us apart as a comedy, and what has set us apart from the beginning, believe it or not, was two things. It was our mission statement, the focus of what we originally had, and the tech that we used, as weird as that sounds. So when we first came in the scene, it was when it started, it was right after kind of the pandemic was ramping down and things were opening up. And a couple months in, I think it was like 6 months into that, after things opened up, where Corey Baldwin, who's my partner, in business partner, just want to put that out there. I know my name's Dick, not that way. It is Pride Month, so hey. But freaking so.
Hey, we don't judge.
Hey, I don't judge
not
either.
about judging.
I've said straight up, look, I've said for Pride Month, the way I'm showing my solidarity is that for the rest of the month, every time I pee, I sit down. So that's my way of giving back to the LGBT, elemental P, whatever community.
Yeah, they're starting to say IQ, PX.
I can't keep up any. I think they're making up letters at this point.
I think so.
They're gonna pull, like, soon they're gonna use hieroglyphics and fucking all this other stuff. Anyway, so what we started doing was me and Corey, and we got together and we decided it happened organically, the whole thing, how it happened. He was doing a show. I asked him if I could help him set up chairs because he was by himself, and literally that is how COC started, from chairs. And then we started putting on. Then he asked me. We talked about coming together and forming a little group. And in the beginning, we had a few other members early on, and they left very quickly.
This episode of Get Tech Smart is sponsored by appandwebdevelopers.com. Everything you need from website design, app development, hosting, and more.
But what set us apart was nobody at the time was using lights. As weird as that sounds.
Really?
Like, nobody was using lights, and I had some lights that I bought because I have a theater background as well, and an acting background. I'm also a director, so I kind of know how to dress a scene. Yeah. Matter of fact, that's one of the movies that I directed for. I was the art director for that movie, so I have an eye for making things pop a bit more. And I was like, you know what? We don't need a lot of money to do this. This is buy some lights. I bought some lights. I got some colors, and I would change the color of the show, believe it or not. And that alone separated us from everybody else.
Yeah.
And then we just kept going with that. And then now what we do is, for a while we were implementing projectors, and we were implementing we started getting really crazy with it. And then I decided to scale back just because I wanted to keep it to the basic things. And it was one, we have a great sound system. Right. Tech wise, if you're ever going to do any type of entertainment, sound, as we know how important sound is.
Yes, definitely.
If you don't have good sound, it doesn't matter how great your product or how great your program is.
You can't watch it. You can't watch it if there's not good sound. It's like,
no one's going to pay attention to you. And it's the same thing for comedy shows. So I spent money on a really good PA sound system. And because of that, we were able to go from small venues like little bars that we were at, to where we actually done comedy shows at the Derby Room, Pomona Fairplex, which holds over 400 people. And my sound system, was more than enough for that room. So
I got a question for you then. Yeah. How did you get started on being able to book these locations?
So it took time, and because of my background, let me tell you guys a little bit about my back. I keep referencing it. Besides the acting portion, I also was in music music was the first thing I started. I started doing music since I was 12. And at 21, my band ended up we became the house band for the Whiskey A Go-Go in Hollywood for a couple of years.
Wow.
And it was through there where I kind of learned I kind of got a crash course in business, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Contract negotiation and learning, business terminology and things like that. But don't get me wrong, it's not like I was super professional either, because this is Hollywood, mind you. So I'm doing business deals with music venues, and I'm talking to producers. Let's say you're the producer, right? Or you're the producer, and you'd be talking to me, and in the middle of our business meeting, you just decided to bust out a line of coke, in front of me. Hey man, you want to bump? This is the type of meetings I'm at. You know what I mean? So
that's Hollywood for you.
I'm like, and I had hair at this point, so it was one of those. Wow. It was a learning experience, to say the least.
Yeah.
And it just, from there, I then ended up going into the military, and it was in that point where I kind of really dived more into myself, and what helped, I guess, ultimately for me was the fact that I was able to look at things and self-analyze, because I did the therapy, I did the work, and from there it kind of just propelled itself from that point. You know what I mean? And instead of going down, I decided to change my perspectives and change the way I do things and remember who I was, and just remind myself where it's like, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, whatever it is that you want to do, you're going to push through, and you're going to get it done. And that's just all the way I've always been. And when I started talking to these venues, I remembered all my business terminology. I even took some business courses. I read a bunch of business books. My brother graduated with a business degree from Cal State Pomona, I think it is. He graduated from. So he graduated. So, I pick his brain with stuff. And then I have a lot of friends who also were producers before me in comedy. And since I produced music prior to that, I wanted to see if there were similarities or what the differences were. The only differences I needed to learn was the terminology that's used in the comedy world. Once I learned that, it was literally the same. There's no difference.
Terminology used in the comedy world. Like what?
Curious. For instance, let's see. One term I guess I would throw out there that comics tend to use a lot is when we say we killed, for instance, most people who hear kill, that's a bad thing. There's only two places or two areas that I know of where if you say kill, it's a good thing. One is comedy and the other is the military. As weird as that sounds. It's these little subtle differences in nomenclature that really kind of make differences. And then even in business, when we're talking to venues, the only thing that they want to know is, what are you offering? What are you going to deliver? And will you follow through with it?
What are we going to get out of it? Is what
exactly.
They know. How is this going to benefit us?
How is this going to benefit me and my business? And that's the first thing I always address, where it's like, hey, I introduce myself, and then from there I'm like, and this is how I can help your business, because we've helped other businesses this way, and here, let me show you these other businesses.
Exactly.
So it's coming up with a business plan, and also they're knowing your worth. That's the other thing. A lot of people are afraid to ask.
That's true.
Or negotiate their worth, and they'll downplay their worth. And I don't do that. because I know what I bring to the table. I'm very honest with them about, especially if it's an area we've never been to. I'll tell them it takes X amount of time to build something. So we're going to have to go through the ups and downs and adjust fire during that time period. But by the end of that time, we should be at this point, and then blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's being realistic also. And also being open to criticism, but at the same time, not letting other people control what it is that you do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So there's a lot that goes through it. It's multifaceted.
So how do you get all the people involved and all that kind of stuff as comedians? Were they just your friends starting out, or
So it's the weirdest thing. Hold on, my cat is mad right now. Give me a second. Let him in.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, kid. All right. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So now he was gonna keep doing that all the rest of the time. So
my dog, I'm lucky that she hasn't started going off, so it's only a matter of time.
So the way it's interesting, the way it works. Comedy is a very unique unique art form, I would say, because it is an art. And it's unique in the sense of comedians, really good comedians, I would say, because there's a difference in comics and comedians, in my opinion. A comic is somebody who maybe is an open micer, or that's all they've done, or they've done a couple shows here and there. They don't get paid for what they do. Maybe here and there they might make a couple dollars, get some gas money, get some drinks, whatever. But that's kind of that level. And then there's comedians. Comedians are professionals who get paid to perform their craft.
Exactly.
The way how I meet these people is fun. Some of them are my friends now. You know, I've been friends with some of these guys for years now. And then some of them, believe it or not, there's some comics I don't meet till the day we actually do a show together. So I will reach out to them and I'll be like, hey, my name is Dick Salas, fellow comic. I need to refer me, or if you haven't, and usually they check me out. And usually they'll have friends. So the comedy world's so small and at the same time so big that usually they'll check me out through one of their friends. Or they'll look at my feed and they'll be like, oh, this guy, let me see who's been on the shows. And then they'll be like, oh, okay, this guy's
they vet you first. Exactly.
Yeah, you got to get vetted.
Yeah.
Or someone else will reach out to them and be like, hey, you got to hit up Dick Salas out in LA whenever you go through, because that's the guy you want to talk to. You know, COC, Quarter Comics, those are the guys you want to talk to. If you want to have good shows, you want to make money, and you want to be in front of an actual really good crowd. And you're also going to work with people who don't bullshit you. So it's one of those where we've provided that in the Quarter Comics, and that's why just hit our 2-year anniversary a couple weeks ago. And now in 2 years, we have become the #1 comedy producing group outside of Hollywood.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's not a small feat. I don't know if you guys know out there, but that's huge. That's really a big deal.
Especially out here in California in particular. Well, not just California, but anywhere where you're the #1 at anything. Or when you're, and it's one of those where it's not about, I think there's a comment, I don't like using the word pride because I don't like pride. It's confidence and knowing having a goal, and always at the same time being humble of the fact that you're able to attain this goal. Because ultimately our goal was, and I know I mentioned that we had 2 things that separated us, and I said the second one was tech and the first one was our mission statement. And the mission statement for us was we wanted to become a production group or company or whatever terminology you want to use that makes the scene better.
Exactly.
And that's what we've done. We produce more shows than anybody. We don't have the same lineups twice. You will never see the same lineups twice at any of our shows. We put on quality entertainment, and we bring funny people. And sometimes we'll mix people who aren't so funny in there just because you got to learn your craft. You got to get good. You have to be able to make mistakes. And in comedy, that's That's what comedy's about. Is being able to.
How often do you come up with your material? Is it like every week you have to come up with new material, or do you keep using the same material?
So that's the interesting part about being a comedian and a producer. Where, or in my case, I guess I would have to say I'm a producer and a comedian. Producer first and a comedian second, because I've been producing longer. But to answer your question short, it's because I have dual roles and because I'm at venues usually sometimes weekly or every other week, I can't use the same material all the time.
Exactly.
Because crowd, it's the best way I can describe it is, imagine if you were in a relationship and the first part of the relationship was great. Sex was awesome, right? It's always amazing, the first part. But then after a while, you get in this groove and in this funk, and now you guys just keep doing it in missionary. That's kind of what happens with your jokes after a while. People get tired of it, no matter how funny they actually are.
Exactly.
So I have to come up with new material literally almost every show.
Have you, because it's hot right now, and I don't even know if it's in the comedy field or not, but have you used ChatGPT or Google Bard or any of the AI systems to help you write some of your comedy, or at least to brainstorm some of the things to start it off, or you just haven't even drove to that level?
I use ChatGPT and some of the other AI programs more for the business acumen side and the social media side of portion of comedy, because comedy is a multifaceted career, just like any career. Most people think challenging careers, I'd say. Most challenging careers they operate on many different levels. So you have to constantly juggle all these things to be successful. AI is the next sort of pioneer part, like the new frontier, we'll say, of technology.
Oh yeah, it's like the internet in 1994.
Yeah.
What have you?
What I've learned using ChatGPT and some of these other AI language based programs is, though the wit and humor is there's still it's very hokey. It's very and I hate to use the word hokey because I'm not white, but it is. It's very like slap kind of stick, almost like I'm trying to be edgy, but I can't be because of my computer limitation sort of thing.
Exactly.
And I think the further along AI evolves and develops and is really able to grab the nuance of comedy, I don't really know how creative yet or how helpful it could be to comedians yet on that end. Personally, now I'm not a AI software engineer, obviously, so I don't know how to super prompt it in those type of ways, but I'm knowledgeable enough to know and to recognize the limitations that are currently there on this AI, where AI is at currently. Now, will that change in the future? I'm 100% certain it will, but I don't really know if it will truly ever be able to grasp the nuance of comedy, because comedy is it's unique to the individual.
Yeah.
And that's what makes
you have to know the crowd. You totally have to know the crowd.
Exactly. And unless AI can look like, unless it becomes an actual android or a physical being of some type, and it's standing on a microphone and it looks at a crowd, and it'd probably be able to read the crowd better than we can as humans, because it would have the data on everybody, and then it could bring the commonalities of what they think is funny, but maybe it could do it better over time, and it would be able to perfect comedy.
I wouldn't be surprised if in 5 or 10 years it got to be something like that.
I mean, and who knows,
never know,
with the exponential growth that AI can possibly achieve, we have no idea how far this can go.
This discussion here is just sparking my thought about, because you probably don't know, but I created an AI app called Tripping AI, and it's a travel AI app, like a travel chatbot app.
So it's like a
ChatGPT.
personalized AI. It's like a personalized AI app.
It's like it's called Tripping AI, and I'll open it up on my phone here and show you.
Okay.
It's basically I use. Oops, let's see if I can put this.
Okay. I see that.
So
All right.
you ask it a question, a travel question, or say if you're it's for traveling. So
Okay.
say if you're somewhere you don't know where there's something to eat, or better yet, maybe you're traveling with your family. You want to find some family fun things to do for kids in the area or whatever. It'll tell you all the different locations. You can then ask it you can follow up with it, tell it to what you want to book the location, book a reservation. You want their phone number, you want their address, you want directions to it, whatever. And it'll tell you everything.
So it's like if Google was an AI at that point.
Correct. It's like ChatGPT, but only focused on travel and entertainment and food.
So yeah, so it's a AI search engine pretty much that is focused only on those areas.
Exactly. Nothing.
So is it a language-based AI or what?
Yeah,
what's that?
I'm using actually. Well, I was within, I'd say, a week after OpenAI released, allowed developers to come in. I'm a software developer, so I applied for access to their API and was granted access within about a week. And where I created that Tripping AI app and had it published, probably about 2 weeks later.
Oh wow!
I work fast. And
I can see that.
The difference in that is that, yes, it was only updated till like 2021.
Something like that. Yeah.
Then now they have ChatGPT Plus.
Okay.
So people that have the paid $19.99 a month for ChatGPT Plus, they get access to plugins. And plugins then can do things like kayak booking sites or what have you, different plugins. They have like a little bit over 1,000 plugins or whatever. And so you can use those kind of things. And one of those plugins is access to the internet. So then it'll actually, when you prompt it, it can actually get real answers from the internet at that time also.
I think I'm going to buy that just because I have the free version and I don't, I see the limit. Obviously it's a free, so if they had to put a lot of limitations on that.
Well, on the free version, what they just recently released, if you're a developer, that is, and you have access to their API, they added the ability to prompt with functions just recently. So what's that mean? That means, like, say, for instance, if you're a developer and you have access to the Travelocity API or whatever API out there, I prompt the ChatGPT and say, hey, if somebody asks to book this, I want you to fetch this API. I want you to look up their city where they wanted to book it, the hotel, look up the hotel through the API, and complete that booking.
Well, it's reverse engineering, literally. Like you have to, it's literally reverse, it's building backward.
That's exactly what it is. You have to think about what they're going to ask and how you can give that to them. That's programming.
As someone who also I have a huge interest in psychology, that fascinates me to think about it from that end, because that then
programming is just a puzzle piece. You're putting together a puzzle. It's school to finish the maze.
That you drew?
Yeah. From a blank piece of paper instead of listening to the boring stuff that the teacher was trying to teach that they didn't know about.
So I also was bored in school, and I went to private school. So, it was very early on I went to private school. So I didn't graduate from a private school. I got kicked out because of my mouth, and I like to fight. So obviously now you see I'm a comic and a Marine. It worked out. But I would be sitting there reading books of whatever it was I was into at that time. So sometimes I would, like, the very early on years, like second grade, third grade, I was reading Goosebumps books in front of my teacher.
Of course.
R.L. Stein, come on, you didn't love Goosebumps.
Yep.
But then when I was in like 6th, 7th grade, I'd be reading like history from like different parts of the world, or like that they didn't teach in school, you know, and then in high school, I was reading a lot of psychology and science, things that I found fascinating because, and the teachers, most of them didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. They were just reading from a book, and the answers were there. And if you didn't meet these answers, you were wrong. And I was like, hold on, this book is from 1972. We've learned shit since then, you know, like
that's exactly it.
You know, and school for me, I'm very and when it comes to knowledge and education, I'm for it. Don't get me wrong, I am for it. I really am, because knowledge is power, and so education is what I think would be, that's the first building block in order to build greatness. You know, but today's education system, especially here in America, is not geared for learning. No. It's geared to conform into a sort of, and I guess I don't want to sound disparaging towards people who work in factories or anything like that, but it's geared towards that factory mentality, you know, that uniformity one, kind of military-esque almost in that way.
It's geared for work for someone else, not geared for go and do this venture that you can see that there's benefit for, and your own business off of this.
Yeah, you have to stay within
entrepreneurship.
You have to stay within the parameters of what is designed, and you cannot go outside of that. And I've never subscribed to that mentality, even as a child, and especially now as an adult. I don't subscribe to.
No, I haven't either, because of my medical issues that we spoke of earlier, and obviously when you have issues medically wise, then you can't really have a regular job, because you can't just take time off here and there and there and there. That's out your ass.
And that's why, like, for me now that I'm like, I've been doing comedy for a short time, for only a couple years, to be honest. But I went full time with it last year, which is crazy compared to most of my peers. Everybody was shocked when I went full time, because they're like, you haven't been doing this not even 5 years. What the heck? You know, like some of these guys have been doing it 10, 15, and they're still not full time.
Oh yeah.
But it's because what I told them was I set myself up. I made sure I'm very strategic with the way that I move, and I plan not just the next 3 steps. No, I'm already like, well, I've already planned, okay, this is where my goal is, which is 5 years from now. Now, how do I get there? Or 10 years from now, how do I get to this? And I reverse build it. Like, okay, so I have to do this and this. I reverse engineer it backwards, sort of like the way you programmers do, you know what I mean? And that's been my success. And because also, like you guys, I have to think so if this is my goal, what's going to hinder me from hitting this? And what's going to help me to get here? And I have to literally do the math.
Exactly.
It's sometimes it sounds like I'm crazy, and some of my friends and family will be like, you sound crazy, but they know more or less how my process works, and they can't argue with the results. You know what I mean? No one can argue with the results of what's happening. You know, going into comedy now full time. This is what I do. I get paid to talk shit. I get paid to do podcasts. I get paid. You know, I get paid to just have fun and you know, really be able to sink my teeth into it. And if it wasn't for tech, believe it or not, like the phone I'm on right now, if it wasn't for apps that like people like yourself create, many others, comics and entertainers in general, we wouldn't be able to do 90% of the stuff that we can do now. It wasn't for technology, and it wasn't for people like you who keep evolving that technology to such a way where it allows laymen like myself to be able to utilize it in such a user-friendly way, you know? Because I remember when websites were, like you said, 94, when the internet first kind of popped up, and Al Gore said he invented it, apparently. To build a website at that time, nobody knew what that meant.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and now you can literally go on the internet and there's domain builders that you could just use your mouse to build your own website, and it'll take you like 15 minutes to do it. You know what I mean? And that's insane at the rate that we've come. And that's why I like technology, but I also am very weary to not be complete as I wish I wasn't as reliant on it as I am, but I also try to remember that there's a real world outside of technology.
Exactly.
And we need to be able to interact with that world. We really need to be able to remember that technology isn't there to replace the real world, it's to enhance it.
That's right. Definitely. I fully agree.
So yeah, dude. So I mean, the whole tech aspect of entertainment, I can't stress enough. If anyone's ever interested in it, if you want to get started, whatever it is, you need to find out what are the successful people doing and what are they not doing. And then you also need to go to the opposite end. What are the people who aren't successful in that same field? What are they doing so I can avoid doing that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need to
learn
look at
from others' mistakes so you don't make them.
Exactly, and everything in between. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's and you need to cover as much ground there as you can. So that's my advice to people. If you want to do anything, put the goal first and then work your way back from it, and then ask questions. And if you don't know how to use something like me, there's certain pieces of technology that I couldn't I can't figure out for the life of me certain little things. And then I call up one of my friends or one of my friend's kids who's like 12, and he's like, "Oh yeah, hold on." And he does it in 3 seconds. And you know, it's just the way how time has evolved and how all this has happened. And
hey, we're
now,
getting older. What can you say? We're getting older.
You know what? Cognitively, I'm still firing on all cylinders, but some things do baffle me. But I love technology. I do. I love how it's allowed me to get to where I'm at in my life. And if it wasn't for technology like this, it wasn't for sitting there and being able to recognize the opportunities that technology offers, we wouldn't be talking.
No, well, think about it like this, old school. I mean, even the news, they'll do press junkets where they actually have to have a real camera set up there and the person coming in and the celebrity coming in and talking in front of this camera, and then they switch it out to another tape and switch it out to another tape, and the same camera. That's ridiculous.
Yep.
Look what this allows us to do. You're in the comfort of your home. I'm in the comfort of mine.
Right.
We're able to conversationalize. And so, hey, everybody, I'd like to have Dick talk to you more about his Comedy Fest, his upcoming shows that are coming up and everything like that. So let's hear about it, Dick.
Sweet. So I got a very, very busy rest of the year. July, I already put my dates out. I think I got 20 shows in July alone, where I'm doing a comedy festival. Actually, it's, from what I understand, from what I've been told, it's going to be the biggest comedy festival ever, up to date ever. It's going to be happening in Rosemont, October 20th and 21st. Stay tuned for more information on that. I think there's going to be over 250 comics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's insane. It's going to be kind of like a ravey type. I don't know what the hell. It's going to be wild. But, and then Bastard's Canteen, I am there in Temecula. I want to really highlight that venue. We're there sometimes 2-3 times a month. The reason I bring up that venue in particular, is we do comedy for a cause. It is it's a standard comedy show. You get, great, amazing comics. You get national headliners. But what makes it comedy for a cause is we raise money for a veterans charity called Save the Brave.
Oh, okay.
And, it helps out vets in huge ways, and all the proceeds go to the charity. So this Saturday, July 1st, we'll have a show there. It's in Temecula. It's called Bastard's Canteen.
Okay.
In Temecula, there's two. There's one in Downey, and then there's one in. We're not at the one in Downey yet. We're prepping to.
Gotcha.
They had a fire and they just opened up recently, so they're kind of letting all that settle, and then we'll be moving. We'll be running comedy out of both places. But right now it's in Temecula, and then I also want to talk about I&I Brewing in Chino, where they're usually every other Friday. So the first and third Friday of the month. If there's 5 Friday, we'll be there on the 6th as well. We run an amazing comedy show out of there. The brewery has some of the best beer I've ever had.
I Brewing, huh?
I Brewing, and we
We're
record
gonna have to
those.
check that place out then, for sure.
Yeah. We also do live recording of those shows with Urban Soul TV. So I wanted to give them a shout out as well. Also, Firewater Canteen, Firewater Bar in Ontario. We also run out of. We do the last Sunday of the month there. We also do an open mic after that show. So if you guys are interested in coming through and not just hearing a great comedy show, but you guys also want to try your chops at maybe 5-6 minutes of see if you got it, see if you like it, sort of thing. Come on down. You sign up. You buy a drink, one item. You sign up, and you get to do your thing.
Nice.
You know, and then I know there's a few other venues that.
So is there? You got a website? You got a social media? How can people find this stuff? Because that's a lot of information that you just dropped out. So how can they find it where they can actually look at it?
So my website, I'm redesigning it right now. I had it up for a while, but I had issues. So maybe I can talk to you about this actually.
I do actually do web development, so yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we can talk about that offline. So my website will be back soon, but you can check me out on all the social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever it is you got, I'm on. You type in Dick Salas. So Dick, if you need me to spell that, you already messed up. And then Salas, S-A-L-A-S. Yes, it's backward. You can spell it backward, the same 4 words. That's called a palindrome.
Yeah.
Or you can type in Not Your Typical Veteran, and I'll pop up. You can Google me. You can use an AI search program if you want, and bring me up. I don't care. You'll find me. Just look for this guy, with the glasses, and that. Yeah. So you can find me.
Well, it's been fun, Dick. But let's catch up again later on your next venture. Maybe we'll go over, check out your I Brewing Comedy Fest.
Hey, come on through this Friday, guys. If you're anywhere near Chino, we have our headliner is actually, he is a Vegas, he's a Vegas regular at all the clubs out there. Adam Dominguez, you guys want to check him out. You don't want to miss the show.
Nice. Thanks a lot, Dick. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you for having me. Hope to see you guys soon.